Welcome at yet another Tech Talk on Best of High End. Today with us is Roland Hoffmann. He's the product marketing manager at kind of two companies, Lyngdorf Audio and Steinway Lyngdorf. In this episode, we'll take a closer look at the Steinway Lyngdorf part. So, Roland, when did Steinway Lyngdorf become a manufacturer?
It all started in 2007, soon after Lyngdorf Audio was founded in 2005. It was basically first only a meeting between the main managers from Steinway & Sons and Peter Lyngdorf. And they both had this idea or played around with the idea, whether a loudspeaker can ever be as good as a piano and reproduce a piano in the most authentic way. It was kind of more in the air, like whether that is possible or not. And of course, Peter Lyngdorf said, yes, we can do that. And Steinway & Sons was like, that's impossible because a piano is a piano. And that's of course true because a loudspeaker can never be a piano. But the question was, how close can you come to that? And can you really prove that a loudspeaker can be as good as a piano and reproduce a piano? So by then, there was not even a product. So it was not like just a meeting. It was actually, we had to prove with a loudspeaker that is able to reproduce the sound of a piano in the most authentic way. And that was the Model D. So the Model D loudspeaker is still in our portfolio today because it's timeless and it's sound-wise still the reference. It's a very tall speaker. It's a 2-meter tall open dipole loudspeaker. So not everyone can place such a big speaker in the room. So over the years, we added loudspeakers for basically different room sizes, different speaker placement, because an open dipole, you need some space. So we also added loudspeakers that are easier to place against the wall or even in the furniture, on wall, and then for the home cinema, and then woofers, and of course our own electronics and amplifiers and AV processors, because just to complete the whole system. So today we have a very, very wide range of products, not necessarily because one speaker is way better than the other. They all are on a certain level. It's more about different rooms, different room acoustics, different room sizes, different way of living.
But is it safe to say then that the goal or the mission statement for Steinway Lyngdorf was to produce a loudspeaker that could come as close as possible to a Steinway & Sons concert piano?
That's one part of it, but it's actually more than that because there's Steinway & Sons written on the loudspeaker. It doesn't say Steinway Lyngdorf, it says Steinway & Sons. And the whole idea was not only the piano, otherwise the speaker would only be good enough to play a piano. Of course, the aim is much, much bigger. It should reproduce basically every instrument on the quality level that it's worthy of the name Steinway & Sons. And that includes every instrument and a voice and a whole orchestra and movie soundtracks. All at the quality level of what Steinway & Sons stands for. So the original idea was about, hey, can you reproduce a piano so that with closed eyes you can say, oh, this is almost like a piano. But then, of course, it has to be much more than that.
Okay. Can you walk us through the products of Steinway Lyngdorf?
Yeah, so we have the Model D and the next in line is the Model B. Both are open dipole speakers which sound very unique because you basically remove the enclosure, you remove the cabinet, and then you have basically less coloration and hear the pure quality of the drive units, which is a dream of every speaker designer. It's not the most power efficient way, so you really have to scale up the amplifiers. For us, that's fine because we make our own amplifiers and we just scale the amplification up, and we have this super efficient digital amplification. But then we had also customers who said, I cannot play such a big dipole speaker, no matter whether it's the Model D or the Model B in the room, because an open dipole, you have to have some space to the wall and you have big rooms. And some clients don't want to have the speaker prominently in the middle of the room. They want it more closer to the wall. And normally in high-end audio, that's a no-go. You cannot place the speaker against the wall. That sounds wrong. But we turned that thing around and said, okay, if clients want to have speakers against the wall, and we have Room Perfect, then we better create speakers that are perfect to be placed against the wall, and that sound great. And that is the Model O, which is, you could say, our entry-level speaker. It's the one where Steinway and Sons start regarding loudspeakers. And then later the Model A. The Model A is basically also a speaker for placement against the wall, but with two big woofers, so it reaches much further down in the frequency than the Model O. It depends on the room size, but both are made to rather be, discreetly against the wall. And then we have the Model S. You could say that's the most popular speaker because it's also the most versatile. It's an on-wall speaker. It's a speaker for placement on a low board, sideboard, or even at a TV board or something, or left and right of the TV. And you can use it as surround speakers as well. So that's a very small speaker. It cannot play any bass. So you always need to add woofers. But that's a very fascinating speaker because your eyes don't believe what you hear. But part of that magic is of course, that you have extra woofers to it. So we also added our own woofers. We have 4 different woofer models, basically depending on room size. And even that's not all. You can scale the woofers up because in our programming, in our so-called speaker file, we basically customize the system. So whatever the room is like, whatever the owner dreams of, we can mix and match speakers with woofers as they like, as the room demands. So we not only have 4 different woofers, we can scale it up to whatever the room size is like, or the cinema.
That's for speakers.
That's for speakers, yeah. And for electronics, we have our own amplifier, which is basically the Lyngdorf digital amplifier technology. One step further because it's fully digital, and even when you turn the volume level on the processor or on the app, you basically increase the voltage in the power amplifier. And the power amplifier receives a digital signal through a CAT cable. So it's pretty advanced on the audio domain. So we have our own amplifiers, 400 watts. Most speakers are bi-amped or even tri-amped because that's control over the drive unit, and that also means we have the crossover in the digital domain in the processor. And processor, we have one stereo processor, the SP1. We have a P100, P300. These are AV processors for surround. Also great for stereo because they have a streamer built in. So they are room ready, they have Tidal Connect, they have Spotify Connect, they have web radio. They decode everything from 2-channel to Dolby Atmos and DTSX. So very versatile. And that's a lineup, and it's always a closed system. So to make sure that the audio performance, the sound performance of, let's say, a Model D or a Model S is always very, very similar, no matter how the room is like and how you want to sit and where the speakers are placed. We designed it from the ground up as a closed system, including room perfect calibration. So make sure that it's always up to that level that we, the customer, and Steinway & Sons want the sound quality to be like.
Yeah. Let's talk highlights. Do we say Model C and the new soundbar?
For me, it's certainly the Model C. That's my personal highlight. And also every time I demo the speaker to someone, it's a fantastic speaker. It's a fascinating speaker because the size is so beautiful. It's so light. It's a very slim design. It's very open because it's an open dipole and it doesn't have any amplifier on the back or any cabinet, no enclosure. It's a very, very beautiful loudspeaker, but it works with separate woofers, like a 2.2 system, which you can hide in the room corners. So all you see is this beautiful speaker, but the sound is you won't believe it because we have these boundary woofers and you can even scale the woofers up. So that speaker has no limit, no matter the room size. So the speaker is beautiful and performs on the same quality level as the Model D, which is our reference speaker. And you might wonder, how is that possible? Because the Model D is the reference, yes, but the middle section of the Model D is essentially the Model C. So it's the Model D middle section with the benefit of boundary woofers, which you can scale up. And that's just a wonderful combination.
Yeah, and then the soundbar, which is actually designed to fit an 85-inch television. I would call it almost a Hummer soundbar.
Yeah, it's we thought we had the first prototypes were made for 75 inch screens, but when we tested this product with some customers and some Steinway partners, they said, no, 85 inch, this is the go-to size. In this league, it's also where many TV manufacturers have their groundbreaking technology first. The benchmark technology comes in the 85 inch and then it trickles down to smaller screens. So 85 is a go-to size. And yeah, in many rooms, especially in this league, it just looks perfect. It's not every smaller soundbar would be out of place. And we realized, I mean, it's a really big product, but there are two ideas behind it. One idea is to have 3 times a Model S with woofers, which people were using left and right or below a TV anyway. And they were asking, why don't you do this in one box? So that's basically the width and the quality that you have anyway. So one idea is based on the Model S together with woofers. And the second idea is someone has to do the reference soundbar in the market. I mean, the market used to end at a certain price point and a certain size. There was no model above that. So if you really have much, much higher aim in sound and quality and the way how the product is made and lacquered, there was no product. And I think that fits Steinway very well.
Yeah, it's very shallow, and then the woofers are designed specially to fit that shallow enclosure.
Yeah.
But the performance is out of this world, because when I first auditioning it at high-end Munich, I thought the boundary woofers are accompanying, but that was not the case. Incredible.
Yeah, it's incredible because we have almost no cabinet volume. It's very shallow, and of course we have to have the 3 times Model S there as well in that shallow enclosure. So we don't have, like you have it with a big floor stand or a subwoofer, you have lots of cabinet volume to play with, and here we don't. So the woofer itself and the magnet and the voice coil, it has to be very capable. And we also have to drive it with our 400 watt amplifier channel. So the woofer alone has 400 watt amplification on the back. So that is a good combination. And that gives you this performance. And I would say there's no other subwoofer out there that can deliver that amount of bass performance. Let alone the clarity of the Model S with this motion transformer tweeter.
Yeah. To round up, Roland, can you describe the customer of Steinway Lyngdorf products?
Not really, because it's every customer is very, very different, and every room is different. Every customer is different. It's usually someone who is not so much into mixing and matching hi-fi high-end products like this DA converter with this preamplifier and this power amplifier, and mix and match with cables, like the hobby hi-fi customer. It's customers, it's owners who appreciate music. They go to concerts a lot, but they don't read hi-fi magazines every day. They enjoy music. They have really good ears. They demand a lot from the best products at home. But they're not hi-fi hobbyists, and that makes it very interesting. And they really appreciate quality, and that's why we always try to also give the product, apart from the sound quality, also some value in how the product is made, how it's lacquered, how it looks like. If you look at the Model D or the Model B or the Model C from the other side, normally speakers are very boring, right? It's a box. And our speakers are very interesting, like an open piano. When you open a piano, there are so many details that are partly responsible for the sound. And that's what we try to achieve the same with our loudspeakers, to make the loudspeaker interesting to look at, to make the technology visible, and to create a more fascinating loudspeaker.
Okay. That's the Steinway Lyngdorf Roundup. I hope you learned a lot, and maybe you can take a look at their beautiful products. Thank you, Roland, for sharing that with us.
Welcome.